A sultana's duty. Nanamo seems lost in thoughts of the past. We must make haste. My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan Sworn for long, and there are other places I would visit. To the Arzanith Ossuary. Yeah. Which I have no idea where that is. Okay, that's the Thaumaturgist Guild. When the calamity threatened, Raubon led the Alliance forces into battle on the plains of Cartno, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louis Sois would have the power to rouse the 12. Since that day, I have made a custom of visiting this shrine during each of my little excursions. Here I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices, and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as a sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion, because you have led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of a monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be a sultana worthy of the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles facing Ul'dah. I have chosen my path, Lavenza. With Ala Mhigo now freed from imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees. Already, many displaced Ala Mhigans seek to begin the long trek home. And as you well know, our artisan school shall be waiting to accept any who wish to learn new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive, and this time the Olden Treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. Might you ask a member of the syndicate for advice? Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees? Well, both of those questions are referring to Godbert, because he is both a member of the syndicate and one who employs refugees. But I think the second one is a little bit more specific. A wise suggestion. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucer is in order. Its proprietor is a member of the syndicate, and he is one of the few who pay refugees a fair wage. I wonder, are you acquainted with Godbert Manderville? Indeed I am. Then I need not explain his eccentric nature. Let us make our way to the landing, and I will see that word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Godbert should be only too glad to receive us. I've ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. I must confess to some excitement. I had heard descriptions of its splendor, yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. No, I couldn't possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. Godbert will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations. And this is, yeah, Wonder Square West. And I don't even know. I was trying to interact with the Senior Sabatender statue as if it were an Aethernet. I believe this is where we are to meet Lord Manderville. Shall we sit while we await his coming? My apologies, Your Grace. I have kept you waiting. No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice. When my son's good friend and the Sultana herself come calling, there is no more important engagement. As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Thanalin. You are aware, I am sure, that many of Alamigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland, and you are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter of how it might best be distributed? The unusual circumstances of our meeting and your Grace's choice of companion would suggest to me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is stop. Taxing Ulda's wealth to save Alamigan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea. You oppose my proposition? Most emphatically. I agree with your Grace that the refugees must have housing and employment. But what profit is there for Ulda in this arrangement? Profit? After all you have done for Garabania's displaced, I thought you the last person to seek the benefit from their misfortune. Forgive me, Your Grace, but you appear to be laboring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavor to support one's fellow man. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save the refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it. And then we must consider Ulda's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of you spending the nation's coin not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Alamigo, it is unlikely they will applaud your generosity. Very true. Surely it is not your Grace's intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill. Indeed. Then any support I pledge to the refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people of Ulda. Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship with the returning Alamegans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects. You have given me much to ponder, Lord Mandeville. I thank you for your candor. I mean, it's funny, for as goofy as the Mandervilles are, I mean, Godbert is also an exceptionally intelligent, experienced, wise man. It's just interesting, you know, I mean, not to say that it's a lot of depth, but there is still depth to Godbert. A Sultana's resolve. Nanamo appears to be reassessing her plans. Prophet. The thought never even crossed my mind. But standing about lamenting my naivety will not do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Lavenza, are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? If my attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business. Rowena, maybe? Ordinarily, I would not trust any agent. Oh, okay. Yeah, Hancock. Of the East Aldenard Trading Company. But if you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying to distant Kugane and speaking with him on my behalf. Eager though I am to visit those shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you will travel as adventurers... Oh, okay. Assuming you will travel as adventurers are wont to do, I shall await your report by the Aetheryte in Ul'dah. A fair journey to you, Lavenza, and a swift one, if you please. Damn, she's like, okay, I know you can just teleport, so go do that and then pop right back. Lavenza, to what do I owe the pleasure? Or are you here on business? I beg your pardon? Her Grace the Sultana would have my opinion on how best to invest the wealth of Ul'dah? My dear Lavenza, I have you to thank for this recognition, I am sure. And I am flattered that you came to me, truly flattered. But why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master? Upon matters of profit, there is no living soul better qualified to advise Her Grace than Chairman Lolorito, a man whose morning exertions are said to fill his garden robe with gold. Or, not garden robe. Garderobe? I don't know what that is. Yeah. Interesting. I should be happy to arrange a meeting for you, say at the Scion's former headquarters in Thanalin. The Waking Sands would seem a suitably neutral venue for negotiations, don't you think? Fare you well, Lavenza, and may your dealings prove fruitful. And back. I wonder how other people feel of this quest line, you know, because it's, I just hear, you know, a lot of complaining, you know, particularly of the A Realm Reborn content of being, you know, just a lot of cutscenes, a lot of talking, and I wonder how people think of this. I mean, I don't mind it. I like it because it's, you know, there's been lore we've been given, and it's just interesting to see, what's to happen with Ul'dah and the Alamegans. But I'm sure there's people that are just like, oh my god. Welcome back, Lavenza. Did your merchant friend have any useful advice to share? With Lola Rito? And you agreed to this? I am well aware of his standing in the field of business, but I had hoped to keep the monitress at arm's length, and him in particular. Nay, I cannot live in fear of the man. I must learn how to treat with him if I am to rule Ul'dah effectively. Very well. I will meet with Olorito. Let us go on ahead to the Waking Sands and prepare for his coming. Oh. Well, that's very nice and convenient. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to teleport to Horizon. I wonder why they didn't do this more in the, going back and reworking A Realm Reborn. So this is where the Scions first congregated. I've heard many tales, but never had occasion to visit. To work, then. The hour of the meeting draws near, and I would gather my thoughts. Pray see to it that we have the appointed room to ourselves. Oh, and here, not the solar.
A personal summons from the Scions. This must be important business indeed. Though, if it concerns anything so underhand as an assassination, I fear I can be of little help.
His voice sounds different too. But I mean, we've heard from him. Like, that was a voice cutscene with him and Raubon and all that, right? I don't know, just for, like, I think we've heard both him and Nanamo before, since, starting Heavensward, but they still sound different to me. I imagine furniture is still not quite a Lalafel's world.
You have made your point. 'Tis indeed unsettling to find oneself seated across from an impassive mask.
Oh. Get to see the whole face now.
There, would this better please your grace? Or should I address you as Lady Lilira?
Lilira. Her hair...
Nay, the deception has served its purpose. I am glad to see you found amusement in my little jest, Lord Lolorito, but shall we proceed to the business at hand?
By all means. I must say I am most eager to hear your proposal.
Simply put, I would aid the refugees camped in Thanalan in their efforts to return to Alamigo. The reparations you paid in the wake of your earlier misdemeanors will be used to fund the endeavor, together with the fortune seized from the late Teleji Adeleji's estate. But this plan is not intended to benefit the displaced alone. I would make of this an investment which shall enrich Ul'dah and Alamigo both. And who better to consult on matters of profit than the wealthiest man in all of Thanalan? I beseech you then, Lord Lolorito, share with us your mercantile wisdom.
Ah, 'twould seem your grace has matured beyond acts of earnest yet misplaced charity. Pray tell me more.
It's funny, he's like, I don't spend money, I make money. I'm not just giving it away.
To summarize, in return for facilitating the repatriation of refugees and assisting in the establishment of new industry in Alamigo, you ask that a proportion of all subsequent profits be promised to Uldar. Ha! I am impressed, Your Grace. 'Tis an elegant solution, albeit one lacking certain crucial details, specifically which industry and where.
Salt, if I remember correctly.
How swiftly you identified the weakness in my plan, just as I knew you would. Your travels have taken you across the length and breadth of Gir Abania, and you know the land far better than I. Which of the settlements you visited would best provide a home for our refugees? Which has the greatest potential to flourish, given the appropriate investment?
I wonder which one I said the first time. It probably wasn't the Saltery. I maybe felt for the people in Alagana, you know, because theirs is just like a, you know, a little town built into the side of a cliff or whatever. But I know the right answer is the Saltery.
Ah, yes, that desolate little village on the shore of Loch Seld. I know the Saltery and its products well. The Imperial invasion brought an end to their more widespread distribution, much to the dismay of many a wealthy gourmand, myself included. Salt has ever been a transformative ingredient, and in this instance, I dare say, it could transform a modicum of effort into a mountain of gil.
The local citizens will need to be consulted, of course, but I trust the East Aldenar Trading Company can be relied upon to provide its assistance in negotiating a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Naturally, Your Grace. I shall dispatch representatives well-versed in the extraction of this white gold and wring every last ons of profit from its production. The Loch's bounty will contribute to Alamigo's enrichment, whilst easing the burden on the bull's aching shoulders, just as Your Grace desired.
A deal is struck, then.
I got to admit, I kind of like the way Lolorito looks. Like, if I were to make a male Lalafell, I might make him something like that. Oh, yeah, but I was just saying, like, you know, Nanamo takes off her thing and her hair is just perfectly so. I was like, no, I'm not buying that. But I mean, that's, you know, like, welcome to Hollywood. I fear it will be many years before I feel comfortable taking part in such negotiations. But I shall not complain. We have piqued Lolorito's interest and secured his invaluable expertise. Thank you, Lavenza. I could not have done it without you. Yeah, I think he'd certainly be a little less inclined to try to manipulate her if he knows that she's just willing to work with him, you know, and, you know, could create a healthier relationship. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to join me live, the link to my Twitch is in the description down below. Thank you again for watching, and have a great one.